go here, so it's obviously a Facebook thing that's happening. Good. And what are we doing here?
Choosing all day.
All right, looks like choosing all day. All right, let me do this then.
It did completely backwards. That's wild.
Just up there, though.
Yeah. Opposite day.
Lately I've been reeling, watching the nightly news. Don't seem to find the rhythm, just wanna sing the blues. Feels like a song that never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones before my heart turns into stone. So when somebody please pass the megaphone, I'll shout it on the count of three. Oh, in my prayer tonight, I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice, let me testify. Oh, in my prayer tonight, 'cause this is do or die. The time is
Good
coming.
morning and welcome to the Tools of Life show with me. I am Julie Ford of Jewels of Life, and this is the show that brings parents and teens enough uplifting tools on Friday to sift right on into Monday. There is no need to dread a new week. Let's be kind to Mondays, all 52 of them. Now, many of you are new to me or new to the show, so I will let you know that at Jewels of Life, we have been supporting parents and teens as they navigate not only the challenges, but also the rich discoveries of every stage. We dread too many stages, the terrible twos, terrible threes, and when I tell people I have teen girls, they sort of freak out, roll their eyes, and shudder a little bit. But we can enjoy every stage of parenting, and that's what we're here to talk about again. Joy. When we are joyful, we give the kids a great example to follow. We set the tone. And this week's habit, choosing all day or course correction. And what do I mean by that? When I'm having a fearful or judgmental thought, I can choose again and raise it on up. I notice the thought without judgment. And that's a key part, noticing without judging that I had the thought to begin with, choosing again, first forgive myself, then choose again, and then take it up a notch. One more notch towards joy. You know, just like the song we just heard, I choose joy. I choose a more loving thought and I let it move me. So when I hear or experience what I perceive as, quote, bad news, it's easy to go right into blaming myself or blaming others or a circumstance that may have happened, or to go to anger or pessimism or, well, why me? Or here we go again. It might be that, you know, there's been an expensive house or car repair that can take you down, or the loss of a job or of a client opportunity, or maybe a breakup. And hey, it's not just those romantic breakups. Friendships have breakups too. They do. Sometimes they reach the end of their friendliness, exactly, their friendliness, and they disintegrate as well. And they might not disintegrate forever, you know, and it might not be something that big. It might just be a disappointment or maybe a whole stack of little things. And they just take you down. So when the energy goes downward, energy is a currency, just like time or money or anything else that we've tagged with value. And so we feel a little bit impoverished when things go badly. And I'm putting badly in quotes because, you know, lack causes funk. It does when we get stuck in that lack mentality. So when I practice the habit of choosing again, I can move to a different perspective. I'm getting better at moving more quickly back to joy from that funky place by choosing all day long. So since adopting these habits that we're talking about here, for 7 of my habits, I can see myself in a more abundant light, away from the lack, faster. So you have to say, like, maybe that bad thing is not so bad. Maybe it's just not so bad. Maybe there's a blessing hiding in the bad thing, and we can switch our perspective just one notch higher to see it.
Sure. And this is step what?
Let's see. We are at 4th step.
4th.
Yeah. The 4th habit.
And choosing all day.
Choosing all day.
But it's very difficult,
It is.
right? I mean, you make it sound lovely.
Okay. You have to get in the habit of it. And I've got some stories about it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't have to be big. It's just the first part is noticing. You have to notice, hey, wait a minute. I had that thought that isn't serving me. And I'd like a different one, please. Just like, take this one back. I would like a different one, please.
Mhm.
And sometimes you have to do it several times in an hour, several times in a minute. I've got some great stories about that. So imagine that expensive repair to your house or car happened later, and then it caused more harm or harm to humans involved. Maybe it was a stitch in time saves 9 situation. And, do you know what that one means? The stitch in time saves 9. We say it, and we think we know what it means, but it actually came from something very practical. And, I'm going to explain this one because our younger generation, like Kent, might not understand because they don't pick up a needle and thread very often. But if you have a piece of textile of some kind that then has been sewn together and all of a sudden a couple stitches come apart, if you find that stitch in time and mend it, it will save you 9 more stitches. My kids used to say a stitch in time saves 9, and they said 9 what? Stitches.
Yeah.
It'll save you it being a further blow up, a further giant repair. So if you catch your squeaky brakes, you'll not have to maybe replace the whole set.
Sure.
Or you won't run into somebody and cause harm. All right. So it might be one of those situations. Back to the perspective shifts, maybe the loss of job or the missed client opportunity was awesome because there's something way more amazing on the other side.
Yeah.
And that one just wasn't for you. It just wasn't for you. There's a lesson in there. That's not your thing. Hang on. And the thing is coming. So taking that shift in perspective, you're like, all righty then. Well, I thought it was the thing, but thanks for the note, not the thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that new job or the procured client would have derailed the cool miracle that's on its way to you. So shifting that perspective just a little bit. So maybe taking a break from a friendship, our other calamity we were talking about, will actually be just what's needed to straighten things out with that friendship that's maybe a little rocky.
Yeah. Alex says, I've constantly told people that cutting people out can be a great thing.
Precisely, Alex. Yeah.
Like losing weight. It's easy to get rid of the water weight. The ones that we know, large print there, are bad for us. That's easy. The hard part is cutting things out that are fine, things not overly poor, but doesn't do or serve us anymore.
Right, exactly. Service, Alex, precisely the word we're looking for. Is it serving you and others to continue, or is it of service to let that person maybe they might have some junk to deal with and you're enabling their junk, Yeah.
And that's what he says. So people that are fine with people, they just don't serve our goals or aspirations.
Right. And it doesn't mean they're gone forever.
Right.
It might just mean, hey, we need a little time. So maybe it is taking that little break, or maybe currently there's some amazing friendship waiting in the wings that can't slide in because that space isn't clear.
And Alex says, so when that happens, that's when you really start to see that growth happen.
Absolutely, Alex, you're right. You're right. Thanks for chiming in. Appreciate it. So, this doesn't mean that, I've been going from the bottom of the pit of despair and flying up and out to the brightest sunshine with a very warmed heart, all in one blast.
Yeah.
I mean, I take things one click, one notch towards better. And we've talked about this in previous shows. Just one click, one notch towards better. And that's towards better service, towards a better feeling, towards a better attitude or perspective, just one click at a time. And that's why choosing again, minute to minute, becomes a great habit, because then you have that power to move it. It's within you. It's not everything that's outside of you. It's what you've got on the inside. So, what about sickness? A lot of people say, well, yeah, you can't do anything about that. No, it is a bummer. And sometimes it's a devastating one, whether it's us or our children or a loved one who's sick, and it can derail a lot of stuff, especially for parents. It means, what happens now? Maybe just inconvenience. I've got to stay home. Who's going to stay home with the child? Or we've got to dash to the doctor now. It might be an expense, but sometimes it's just downright terrifying if something's going wrong with a child or yourself. So I can either choose when that happens to me to go to why me and really now, please not now, because of the inconvenience or the piling on of things that have already happened. And instead, I can tune into the message of answering it. All right, I hear your call for rest, mine and my kids. I hear your call to slow down. I hear it. And we cozy up with that kid, or we cozy up on the couch with your blankie yourself, and you make a moment out of it. And as our kids get older, I know, Kent, you have the same thing. Like cozying up with a kid doesn't happen very often anymore.
Right.
When they were little, it did. And so taking those times to go, okay, forced cozy time, love it. And maybe it's your turn to take care and be cared for.
Yeah.
And allowing that to happen. And that will take some choice. It will be, okay, I just said no to help. I'm going to notice that thought. I'm going to forgive myself for having that thought. And I'm going to choose again. I'm going to accept the help.
Yeah. Mary says, give weight to the good, not the bad.
Right. They both need their place. And Mary, I love that you said that, because we are going to talk about that. We can't just like shove the bad in a garbage, but we don't want to give, as you say, the weight to the bad and own that first. And own that first. I love that you say that way. And the key to this habit is that noticing, forgiving, and choosing, so that you can ratchet it up a notch. The same thing happens when you're disappointed. We can go from what the heck to where's the lesson?
Right.
There's gotta be a pony in here, says the kid who got manure for his birthday. There's gotta be a pony in here. This is a big pile. Overwhelm. Sometimes the choice is a not now, or not today. And you get to choose that, like clear your plate. If all of a sudden you're overwhelmed. This week, my own coach told me to clear my entire morning and stop saturating my oversaturated head, heart, and brain. Okay. And this was one of those busy week. And she was just listening to me. And all of a sudden I could see her eyes getting a little bit wider. We do video call for our coaching. And she's like, does the word saturation mean anything to you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, that's how I feel. I feel like a sponge. You can't take any more. And she's like, yeah. So I want you to empty your morning. And as she heard my frantic hustle, she definitely understood that all of my reasons were valid and that the stuff on my plate was pretty valid, but it needed some shifts. It needed to be shuffled. I use Google Calendar. So I actually just sort of Tetris blocked and moved a few things over to make it happen. And it was absolutely necessary. So, and, I know that I'm a coach, so I was shoulding on myself. I said, I should have all the tools to figure all of this out. And this is precisely why all good coaches, we recommend that you have your own coach, because we can't operate on ourselves. We can't see the things that others do, when we're steeping in it. So I was overdoing, overthinking, overdigging, oversaturated. And I noticed without judging or shoulding on myself and forgave, that was there and chose again. And I shuffled my calendar pretty heftily. And again, just shuffling my calendar took a lot of stop, notice, forgive, choose again, and say, this is what I need. And I took a detox bath with 2 cups of Epsom salts and I sat in it. And as soon as I got in it, I felt like I turned into the biggest bath bomb ever because my body hit the water and it went almost from a solid to a liquid. And I was able to let go. Like last week, I was holding on really tightly with both fists, and that bath loosened everything up. And 35 minutes, I don't think I've ever taken a bath that long, 35 minutes soaking in salt helped me do so much that day so quickly and efficiently. It was worth every minute.
Total silence during that time? Or did you
total
have some
silence.
music going
Total
on?
silence. But I did light some candles.
Yeah.
But total silence because she said, I don't want you listening to anything.
Wow.
Even if it's good, positive stuff, I want you listening to nothing.
Wow. Okay.
Just be. And I was like, all right, you're asking me to do impossible stuff, but okay. And all she was asking is take a silent bath. And so I did. And it was amazing when I stopped that hustle that my ego was barking at me. You got to do. And I'm like, I like to sing do songs, but that was not working for me. So I had to choose again tons of times just to plunge. But I tell you what, it made so much difference to take that break.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't need to be that profound, moving you up 8 notches like that did. Again, just a little bit, just a click. I have another great story, but first I want to pause and take a little time to tell you what you're listening to right now. You are listening to 21/6 The Net, and it is brought to you by the generous financial support of our partnering sponsors and advertisers so that we may continue to bring your daily dose of encouragement. Visit those sponsors online, give them a call, or better yet, do some business with them. www.216thenet.com. To advertise your business, group, or organization, visit our website and contact the station. Whoop, whoop. All right. Back to that story. It was opening night last night as I was talking to you before we started.
Yeah.
And now we're back. Yes. And now we're back. No, we're jumping right in. We're jumping in like we're so excited about this story. So it was opening night for my kids' musical. It was amazing. They were doing The Addams Family and it was great. And I have all kinds of friends helping. I'm heading up the volunteer effort and I have all kinds of friends helping. And I was sending out encouraging messages and are we ready? Do you need anything? Are we okay in the morning? And, so I also was sending out some inspiring messages. And here's what I sent to one of my friends who was helping because she was going to be heading up, the box office. And it can be challenging sometimes when there are problems anyway, so what I sent to her is do not allow any fears to drain your enthusiasm. Remain centered and balanced within yourself. If you step back from any issue and look at the bigger picture, you will find positive solutions and better ways to go about things. Now, this is something I get on a daily basis that says, the universe is saying to you today. And this was the thing. So I sent her this, and it has a lovely, tie-dye background. It's very woo-woo. Her response in text was, well, I'll need to embrace that. This day is in the toilet. So, I won't tell you how the whole text thing went, but our conversation basically was, her overcrowded calendar caused her to forget that she had a couple of events that were slightly overlapping. Mm-hmm. And it was not going to allow time for her to breathe or take a break or spend time with her puppies in between events and work and all of that. And we were looking, back and forth at all the tiny details and trying to solution all the minutia. And we were going back and forth and trying to find a way out, and nothing was working. And we weren't practicing the quote I just sent her at all, nor were we remembering last week's opening our palms. And we were just in the thick of it, trying to control and move and do. And then, it wasn't working out. And we were just like, oh, it's just going to, it's going to be a challenging evening. And that's where we left it. Then she texts me, great. Now I'm locked in the bathroom. Okay, so here's what happened. At work, they had a lockdown drill. She thought she had time to quick run to the John before the lockdown drill happened because it was a drill. She knew what was going on, and she didn't make it out in time, and they locked down, and she was in there. And the protocol is no flushing, no running water, no washing your hands, and no making noise. And so, she was thinking she sunk, and I'm like, this is an awesome opportunity. You get to choose a different perspective. She could have gone to, oh, poor me,
Right.
Or
She could have had a crappy outlook. Thank you, baby.
Nice. But what she, together we worked out a different perspective, and there was some giant hilarity in this miracle of it, because what she said was her day was in the toilet and that she had no time to take a break. So here's the universe's response.
Literally.
It's that she's in the toilet
taking a break.
And so she was able to forgive those thoughts of whoa. And then we were giggling via text. It was just pretty hilarious. And, I texted her later to make sure she got let out, because she has to actually be physically unlocked out of the yeah. Anyhow.
So my day is literally being showered with $100 bills.
Oh, there you go. Make it happen.
Universe.
Okay. Yeah. Real ones, not gold bars. Correct. Okay. We don't want to kill Kent. All right. So we got another story. My youngest daughter runs cross country, and she had a pretty challenging start to the season with some medical things that were happening that were kind of scary, because she'd sort of tip over at the end of a race. And she had a cold mid-season. She still ran, and she had a cold mid-season, and we went to a giant meet, and long and short, she had to choose right before the race. She had to choose to run or not. So with her coach and I, we were trying to do that. And then I had to choose as her mother to let her or not. I mean, there was some medical stuff. So we agreed that what she'd do is listen to her body and not fight us if we thought really she needed to come off the race course. And so what happened next was she didn't finish the race. About half a mile towards the finish, she had to be pulled. Her body just wouldn't do it. And she was really, really disappointed. But she let us take her off the course. And her first thought I could see in her face was, suck it up, just suck it up. And my first thought was, take away her discomfort, list all the pluses, get her back to feeling good immediately with positive words. But my saying, hey, it's okay, it actually would have denied her what she needed. So in a brief moment of clarity, I chose again, and I said out loud, mourn this. It's okay. It's okay to be and feel here in this moment, because this deserves its time. It's okay to feel it. Let it move you. And so as we walked her towards the finish line so she could watch her teammates finish, she started to cry. And then we huddled in a hug. And after a good, healthy cry, I think all of us did, she rallied to wish each one of her teammates a good job. And that's who she is. So she could have just as easily chosen to retreat and wallow in her disappointment. Because we were close to thinking the season was over. It wasn't. She completely rallied, but she, had to notice that grief, allow it its time, absolutely feel it, and then forgive her body, and choose to be the teammate she always is, despite her own finish, to choose to be the she that she is, and make it happen. So I asked both my girls kind of how they deal with disappointment and what does choosing again mean to them. And, both of them said they turn to truth. They're like, all right, I'm telling myself a story right now about how rotten the thing is, because I'm ticked off, I'm disappointed, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm frustrated. But what is it about this that's making me feel that way? And is it true? Like, how true is it? And getting there, okay, well, this part isn't true, but these parts might be true. And it might only get you back up to meh, not, I'm loving everything about my life. I'm so enjoying everything.
Yeah.
But at least you know that it's true. And some of this was taken from Byron Katie is a coach, and it taken from her concept called The Work. That's what it's called. And it's 4 questions. After you come up with a limiting belief, like, my body failed me, maybe for Viv's story, my body failed me, or it's all over, it's hopeless, something like that. The first question is it true? Second question, can you absolutely know it's true? Like, what's the evidence? Do you have some physical evidence that says it's true? It might feel true, but what in the world is pointing to this truth? Third question, how do you react, or what happens in your world or in your body when you believe that thought?
That's an interesting question right there.
Fabulous question. What happens when you believe it to be true? And we don't stop and think enough about that question. And it's powerful for jumping out of our limiting beliefs or our fears or the things that are stopping us. So who are we essentially when we believe it? The last question is, who would you be without it? What's possible in your world without that limiting belief? What would happen if that was off the table?
Gone.
Yeah. And then you choose from there with that information to turn it around. So I've worked with my youngest actually on that. We write it out. So we would ask, like, list all those limiting beliefs.
Now, you make it sound very, very simple. It's
oh gosh.
Right now it's like watching the Food Network, right? It's like, man, look how great you make this. But choosing daily, choosing minute by minute,
yes,
it's a chore. This is
it's a muscle that has to be, and like any type of workout, you're going to have some sore muscles, and that saturation was my work in every single muscle. Not only choosing again, but implementing lots of different habits, some work, some spiritual, some detail oriented, and the saturation was big. So to pull back and say, "Ooh, definitely need to choose."
And the big part is really understanding too that recognition of it. They're saying, "Hey, boom, I've got a dear friend battling for his life and with cancer." And of course, your attitude is a lot when you're battling that. And several times a day, that thought creeps in. What if? And he literally has to say out loud to himself, I don't agree with that thought.
Right. Yeah.
I do not agree with that thought at all. He has to say that out loud.
And that's his forgiveness of it too. Because it's like, wait a minute, that just, I noticed it was there, and nope, I'm choosing again.
Yeah.
And he's not going to judge himself for that. Hopefully, with having that. Yeah.
Because when you aren't able to choose or identify that thought, the way I look at it, and the image that comes to my mind today as you're talking is you now see in Walmart those weighted blankets. They're supposed to make you nice and cozy. Yep. And I look at that and go, man, that's what that is. It's a weighted blanket. It's going to slow you down. It's going to bog you down. It's going to keep you in that yuck. And unless I go,
I noticed. I'm gonna
agree with that.
Whip that cover off for a little bit. Yep.
Very interesting.
Jenny's telling us, and hi Jenny, thanks for tuning in. Space to grieve, what we'd hoped for, is so important. I could not agree more. It really when it'll pile up. Yeah. Those things that I'm talking about, that disappointment after disappointment, left ungrieved, they'll explode eventually.
Sure. And
again, on the wrong people, the wrong time.
And
my dear husband,
Mr. Ford says it takes work and practice, but the results and positive change is incredible.
Yes, could not agree more. So, oh goodness, we're winding up on time. Ponder, practice, and play with. I promise them every single time. So, something to ponder. Joy is a decision, a really brave one, about how you are going to respond to life. That's a quote from Wes Stafford. Then we have to practice the 3 steps: notice without judgment, forgive the limiting thought, and choose again. I want you to practice that. Even if you only do it once an hour or once a day, start, because those muscles will become stronger, and it'll just become secondhand, and you'll be able to ratchet it up a notch after notch after notch after that. So practice those 3 steps. And something to play with, I will put in the comments Byron Katie's The Work, and I would do it. And if you're not just chatting about it, definitely write it out. Powerful to see in print and read again what's limiting you, and then your powerful truth writing. Yeah. Is it true? What part of it is true? Where's the evidence? And who do you become? So I am Julie Ford with Jewels of Life, and you can find me at Jewels of Life on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like to hear more about enjoying every stage, please just pick up that phone and call me. I'm at 262-374-3744. And until next time, enjoy.
And remember, if you think your life is backwards, it's probably just Facebook. To stay, I need that joy, 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 joy down in my heart to stay.